Well, unfortunately, they're contractually obligated to do that for all of their live appearances. We opened this one with Utena seeing her mom off to work just as she had to head off to her own workplace. Oh, come on. We all know that villains shouldn't be visiting their HQ in like just the third episode. You should be saving that sort of stuff for near the end of the series. And speaking of overly dragged out plot points, here's Majesty if they barred to let her be an actual character rather than a plushie for most of her series. Yeah, it's a little hard to notice, but that's Aoi Koga playing Utena's new cohort, Kiwi. I say it first because you might recognize her for her Kaguya-chan voice or her tendency towards violence. What the fuck? Fortunately, Utena transformed to escape the damage before Kiwi herself transformed and engaged her. She was doing this both as kind of a hazing ritual and to kind of whip her into shape after losing to Karuko in the previous episode. For reasons we'll get to later, she wanted to take down the Tresmagia and thus didn't want any allies who would seemingly just accept defeat like Utena did. And the fight between these two villainesses was probably one of the better ones as they were at least on equal grounds. Utena, what exactly is your definition of cuteness? I mean, don't get me wrong, I think you have some good taste in terms of wanting some of that cake, but that's the thing, you should be more appreciative of the thickness. Because, like a certain other magical girl, she was packing some guns. Oh, and some big cannons too. Eventually, Utena got the upper hand with a clever usage of a wayward light bulb of all things. In the process, she also revealed the exact motivations for why she became such a sadomasochist. For her, becoming a villainess was allowing her to see different sides to her beloved magical girls, be it their cute faces as they were being tortured, her words not mine, or even stronger hidden sides to them like with Karuko. Either way, she was relishing in the fact that she was becoming the key to let the magical girls discover new sides to themselves, whilst discovering some new interests for herself. And such wasn't just exclusive to the Warriors of Justice, but really any superpowered girl she deemed as cute, which need I remind you what she just said about Kiwi? Friendly little reminder, considering that it's still airing, that is a pretty cure. I mean, they really got that Yuri down pat, though I really wouldn't want to see this coming from the character who was a toddler for most of her series, but this is fine. And with that, the only natural thing that would come the next day was, of course, Kiwi transferring to their school. The second half of the episode featured the two villainesses just straight up going out on a date. Granted, one of them didn't exactly recognize it as such, though Utena, sadly enough, didn't even fully register what it meant to hang out with a plain old friend. Thus, she did have to kind of settle for the stalker chick. And the two's evil acts were halted due to them being arrested for unauthorized social media posts. I'm not even really kidding, look that up, they're kind of tracking down that stuff ever since the nuisance streamers became a thing. With that, their date proceeded as you pretty much expect. They shopped for clothes, plushies, and saw an MCU movie. God, even Japan is recognizing the pandering. However, like a true otaku, who even has a very otaku-ish name, Utena only used her money on what really mattered. You're one to talk, girl! But yeah, this was when the villainesses started to reveal a little bit more of themselves. For Utena, she revealed that she believed that transforming into Beze was pushing her into being a Dami mommy, when really it was clear all it was doing was just giving her a little power boost, which was all she really needed to assert herself a little more for those she deemed as cute. As for Kiwi, she revealed why she wanted to take down the Tresmagia, which were for entirely petty reasons, with her mostly just getting sick of them taking up the trending tab over someone like her who clearly wanted a future career on the fans of Oni site. Yeah, admittedly a pretty dumb reason to want to become a baddie, as even Utena's face here summed it up perfectly, but you could also say it is a bit of a commentary on today's culture that's obsessed with getting likes on the X-Bird app. This is one of the oddest, and yet most entertaining Precure crossover so far. All-Stars F has a lot to live up to. However, it did lead to a legit good character bit, with Kiwi now just being satisfied for having the attention of just one person that really mattered in her life. Granted, she could have also stood to learn the value of dress codes, as she forced both of them to transform, attracting the attention of the Transmagia. This resulted in them splitting up, with Kiwi taking on Karuko and Haruka, mostly the former, as toxins tend to work best with each other, while Tenna was left with Sayo, and yeah, you can kind of guess where this is going. Ah, a villainess of culture, I see. Also, still a little confused as to why last week's audio was muted, and yet this stuff got the okay along with even raunchier imagery. Though while Tenna did of course genuinely get into it, she also wasn't a heartless monster, and almost immediately took notice of Kiwi losing her battle with the other two. Thus she used both a clever trick and a noble sacrifice. Okay, now I'm starting to doubt that this is based off of Precure. Their figures nowadays never look that good. With that, the episode ended with the two managing to escape to the safety of a love hotel. Yeah, what was that old phrase about with friends like this? This was a pretty great episode, mostly thanks to the introduction of a new character. Kiwi was both a hilarious addition to the cast, and also an effective confidant for Utena to work off of. As a result, we did get even more introspection to her character and motivations. For the Yuri lovers, I don't think it hurts that she's slowly starting to build her own little harem. While it should go without saying, whenever a new character is introduced into a show, they should be used as an effective means of shaking up the status quo. In the case of this show, and in particular our main character in Utena, Kiwi was exactly what we needed. In many ways, she was a direct foil to the sad loner who eats by herself. She craves attention to often an unhealthy degree if she's willing to use her own body to get it. Then hell, she'd even let Vanelina finish talking before accepting a contract with them. She is also pretty much an open book in terms of her interests, not even bothered to be subtle over the fact that she was thirstier than Regina. As a result, the corresponding Mana Ida of the show was forced to also open up more about her own interests. Yes, she was getting hornier with each girl she domed, but you could also see it as her wanting others to open up more about themselves, be it through their suffering or overcoming the challenges that she put in front of them. It's obviously a very warped view of love, but it is her way of bonding with friends and enemies alike, which for her, there might not be even that big of a difference. This, of course, was best shown through with Kiwi, as she did manage to give her a slightly healthier obsession. I mean, trying to lust after a friend is much more preferable than going after some randos on Twitter, and there is a legit wholesomeness to her saving her at the cost of likely a very pricey figure. The action in this one was a significant step up, mostly to get across Kiwi's awesome mommy/bison fighting style. However, the real standout was the comedy in this one, mostly thanks to Kiwi being down bad with that Yuri. Thus overall, this was both a good character building episode for Utena, and an insanely fun introduction to a new baddie. And hey, at least there's not gonna be an argument over whether or not the character named Kiwi should be considered a green magical girl. As always, thank you for watching. Yes, these videos are a legit pleasure to make, as they do break up the monotony of the usual stuff. It is fun looking at different shows like this, so we'll likely cover at least one more unique kind of anime every season from here on out, which of course with this industry is likely going to give us plenty of choices. So do look forward to all of that. And until then though, farewell for now my friends, and excuse me, Twitter notifications, what's the best way to deal with a magical girl? Tell them you're not too different from each other.